For my service learning project, I chose 3 research articles that pertain to my work in a community garden and market at a non-for-profit within my county. I worked in the community garden in order to supply fresh fruits and vegetables to people in need at the market. So my first source was an article that talks about how people's diets change when they're exposed to fresh fruits and vegetables, and how the convenience is a very, very important part of that. So in this particular article, the authors found that the participating families were consuming almost half a cup more of fruits and vegetables after 12 months of accessibility. That accessibility came in forms like having mobile, local foods available on trucks. So they would load up, think of it like a food truck. They would load up these trucks with fresh fruits, vegetables, herbs, anything from local gardens, and bring them to a set of 12 families. So that could be a set of, a family of 5 with 3 kids, or an elderly couple, or a disabled person. So it's a lot of different people all at once, but they all benefit in the long run. They also use taste testing, events, cooking show DVDs, and written recipes in order to increase their fresh local food intake in their diet. I found this really interesting because in my experience at the place, I actually saw a lot of that going on, where the volunteers who are working in the market would tell customers, hey, you could make this dish with these fresh vegetables, and that would make that customer more inclined to pick up something fresh that they wouldn't normally, and instead substitute, instead of picking up something like a box of mac and cheese, they pick up a thing of squash and they try that. So it's really interesting to see how the research connects to what I was actually doing. Source 2 specifically talks about the environmental effects of centralized food manufacturing, and how we should work towards decentralizing it. So centralized food manufacturing is the mass market that we have today, where food processing is rampant. So one specific business, say in southern Georgia, they are making, I don't know, they're growing pecans. So they would have one main processing plant, one main everything in one place of South Georgia. And then they would use different modes of transportation, trains, cars, planes, anything like that, to disperse it to markets all over. And that includes international food transport as well. That is it is wreaking havoc on our environment. The carbon footprint is crazy when you are eating foods from overseas. So this talks about how large trucks are using gallons of non-reusable gasoline, emitting gases into the air to pollute it, and how decentralizing that by using community and private gardens can really impact our environment. And finally, source 3 talks about it also talks about how community and personal gardens can lead to greater vegetable and fruit intake, but the main reason I use this is because it goes into a little bit of detail about the camaraderie that comes out of community gardens, and I also saw this in my work at the place. Private and community gardens provide food security, but also provide a sense of community of people of different cultures. Food is a big part of culture, a big part of even religion. It's what makes someone distinct from one another oftentimes. So a lot of times you'll see people sharing recipes and ideas for making food that comes directly out of the garden, or coming up with ideas of new fruits and vegetables that could be in the garden for people of different cultures to experience. So those were my 3 academic sources. all three of these really helped me further understand the gravity of what I was doing and how it not only impacted the environment, but the people that were using that environmental goodness. So, yeah, that's my service project.